Hello, and welcome to Tech Talk, brought to you by Jump by Cognitia. I'm your host, Matthew, and with me is my awesome co-host, Sierra. We are instructor and digital coaching specialist with the Jump program. How are you doing, Sierra?
I'm great, Matthew. How are you today?
Doing great. And we have a really special episode ahead of us today with one of our former students and current data analyst with one of our premier clients, Chastity. Chastity, it's a pleasure to have you. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing really great. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, we have a bunch of exciting stuff to get into in this episode. So I'll go ahead and pass it over to Sierra to kick us off.
Awesome. Thank you, Matthew. And hello, Chastity. We're extremely excited to have you with us to talk a little bit about your journey, specifically with the JUMP program and what it's been like working both remote and actually on a client site. But first, to start off, I would love for you to share a little bit about your JUMP program experience. You were such a great success in the program, as you still are once on a client side as a data analyst. So can you talk a little bit about what your JUMP program experience was?
Absolutely. So, actually, my prior experience before this program was the military. And so, when I came here, I had zero technical experience. It was a trial basis to see if I would even be good at this. I did the Java class first, and then I ended that in December of 2019 and the beginning of, or no, 2020. And the beginning of 2021, I came back to do systems analyst. And then from there, I learned data analyst, which I think doing all three of those has actually benefited me because when you're a data analyst, you also do some coding that's not just SQL. So I really did appreciate everything that Jump taught me.
Awesome. Well, certainly covered a lot of ground, and yeah, you've absolutely gotten into several different technologies to be the full package that you are today. And I know that's advantageous, and you're just excelling with all of it too, which is really impressive. With that, I also know one of the new challenges that you've currently been working with has been not necessarily technical, but the process of coming out of the pandemic and transitioning from being a fully remote role into some aspect of in person with your client site. We'd love to hear kind of how that process has gone and what your experience has been in that regard.
Absolutely. So my first 7 or 8 months here has been completely remote. Everything was done via Skype or Teams. And now, starting in March, I actually transition into doing 3 days a week in the office. And I have two different offices. One of them is downtown, and that one is assigned desks. And then there's also another office that we have that is not so far away. And that one is like a network. So instead of having an assigned desk, you go in every morning and you find a desk with a note on it that says this desk has been cleaned for COVID. You're able to use it. And those desks may change up every day. However, you'll still be in the same area as people that are in your same department. So it might not necessarily be someone on your team, but it will be someone in your department where in the assigned desk space you're sitting with your team. Um, but yeah, I think honestly that transition, one of my favorite things I didn't even realize sitting at home I was missing was networking. Because when you're sitting at home, you're talking to people, you think you're getting to know them, and making those connections. But then when you move into the office, you realize that's not necessarily true. For example, I have been in many meetings with the head of my department, just going over quarterly things. But because we're in office now, they actually flew him into the city to come and meet us in person, which that would not have happened. I would have never met him. He wouldn't have actually known my face to remember it. Uh, you know, so that has been a huge, huge, huge thing that I've loved. I've been able to meet people in other departments of the bank, and I've been able to have that one-on-one kind of conversation on a project, you get stuck and you're like, oh my gosh, someone may be there that you didn't even think to ask. And when you're at home, you don't think about that. But when you're in the office, you're like, oh, if this person's right next door, they're in the office with me, let me go ask them and see what they know. And most of the time, at least in my experience, everyone's been extremely helpful. They know that we're new. And it's just been a great experience.
I love to hear about that, Chastity, because you're really talking about how advantageous and really beneficial that in-person, just human connection can really be. And you getting to meet with heads of departments, which may not have happened if you're still in that remote setting, and even just walking past people in the hallway and saying hi to them and getting to know new people. I know that you're someone that is so great at networking, so it seems like it's probably been a very helpful tool for you, even just personally, because I know that you love to learn about anything and everything. So I'm really happy to hear about all the positive benefits that it has brought to you. And with you being so successful in even, any type of work environment, being virtual, having that hybrid model, whatever it may be, we are seeing a lot of our clients slowly bringing individuals back in either full-time or during that hybrid schedule. So what would be your biggest message to future jump pros who maybe in the future will be going back into a client site, or even now are slowly transitioning back into going on a client site?
That's a good question. I would start by saying to just keep in the back of your mind that first impressions are really important and they are everything. So make sure you're smiling. I know that's kind of condescending to some people, but just make sure you have that personality that they're going to remember you. And on the side of that, I just want to share something that the new people on our team we've started to do together, and that is we will like if you're in an elevator with somebody, say hi to them, see where they work, what they do, have that conversation as you're going up, and then maybe even set up what we call a coffee chat with them. So, oh, would you mind if I set up a time with you, maybe 20 minutes or so, just to hear more about you and your experience here? Um, in doing that, I have learned a lot about people that have moved from being a manager to no longer being a manager, why they made that choice. I've gotten great insight into how to be a better leader in my team, but also be a better follower. And just the kinds of technologies that are up and coming, things like that, that you really want to spend outside work time on. What should I do to better myself, to be better for this role that maybe someone on my team wouldn't have told me? So that's been very beneficial.
Awesome. Well, that's super valuable advice and insight, and actually a really cool program as well that y'all have set up there. So some good ideas that I think you're sharing for all types of listeners here on this episode. So thanks for that. It's been a real pleasure to have you on with us, Chastity. So thank you so much for being here.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me, you guys.
Awesome. Well, that's about our time here for today. So our special guest has been our data analyst and former student, Chastity. With me, as always, is our co-host and digital instructing specialist, Sierra. I'm your host, Matthew, and we'll see you next time.